All right, so I'm going to start. I just was waiting to record till you were here. All right, my friends, we're going to go ahead and get started. We were laughing because you could, like, your computer was showing my board, and my board was next to my board, and it was like he was a little silly. Technology is crazy. All right, so today, my friends, we are working on, see if I can get all the work today. Our affirmation, my friends at home today is, let's see, what exactly was, it's okay to not know everything. And so hopefully you won't see a lot of that happening from us, but you never know. All right. Okay not to know everything. It's okay to make mistakes.
That's how we learn.
That's how we learn. All right. Oh, still. There we go. All right. Overcoming learning challenges near and far. Whew. Mrs. Aubin and I had some learning challenges over the weekend, and we think we've overcome them, but we'll see as the day goes on. So there's some learning challenges near, and we've been learning about learning challenges far. Who can tell me what book we read last week that showed us somewhere where there were some learning challenges? Cooper. Rain School, very good. What was the challenge in Rain School? Sunny? So Sunny said they were that the rain would demolish their school, and every year they had to build it again because that's what the materials they had, because they were poor. And then we saw now they have a one that doesn't, but back then in 1971 they certainly did have a problem with that. Very nice. So what was our other story that we read about last week of the challenge far, Elena? Close. Waiting for the Biblioburo, right? It was like a library. It was a donkey library, wasn't it? Yes. And so what was the challenge there? What was the learning challenge there? Josh? Well, that's how it got solved. You're right. That's how the challenge got partly solved, for sure. Ellie? The teacher moved away, and so they didn't have any books. Who remembers the main character of Waiting for Biblioburo? Abby? Anna. Very right. And Anna, her teacher moved away with the books, so she didn't have any books. But who came to solve that problem? Cole? It's hard to say. The Biblioburo, right? Brought with his burros, Alpha and Beta, and they brought the books, and that helped their learning challenge. But then it didn't come back for a really long time. So Anna, like Josh said, she wrote her own book to add. So overcoming challenges near and far. Today's learning targets, we can be seen here, so I can tell the difference between academic vocabulary and topical vocabulary. So we're going to talk about those two words. Those are some big words, so we're going to talk about what they mean. And then our second learning target is I can break a word into affixes and roots. So two big things that we're going to work on today. All right, so let's get started. Oh, got ahead of me here. All right, so for my friends that are at home, you're going to follow through with us here. If you're here in your workbook, on page, my friend, actually we're going to go backwards a little bit. On pages 6 and 7, can everybody here open to page 6 and 7 for me? Page 6 and 7. So you're going to notice that some academic vocabulary. So you're looking at, I'm going to have to toggle back and forth to my dock camera. Pages 6 and 7, academic vocabulary. And I have in big words, and my friends at home, you can see across the top there, academic. It's a big word. Give me a thumbs up if you know what vocabulary is. At least that word. Okay. Vocabulary. So vocabulary are words And sometimes we know what they mean and sometimes we don't. And so as we're reading our books, whether it's one of the books Mrs. Harrison has, or it's a book that is in your book bin, in your book box, you're going to find sometimes if you have a Just Right book, you're going to run into some words that you've never seen before. And so we're going to ask you on occasion when we're doing some skills work to write down some of the vocabulary words that you ran across that you didn't already know. And as close readers, we're going to look at some ways you can figure out what those words mean. But academic vocabulary are words you might find in informational texts on many different topics that are more likely to appear in writing than in conversation. Whew, that's a hard explanation. But basically, academic vocabulary are words that once you know them, they can be in any subject whatsoever. So right now, I am looking, so if you're in here, and you look at the big gigantic bulletin board over there with all those colored words on it, you'll notice that I have two sections, academic and vocabulary. Mrs. Aubin, is there any chance you could walk your computer over just for a second and show them the academic vocabulary that's on my bulletin board, just for a second? Because I'm going to show them more, we're going to go through more of them in a minute, but I just thought that it might help them to look and see those words. That's okay. There you go. They can see those words. All right. So there's a lot of words up there that we might use in any subject whatsoever. Like the word notice. Is that just a reading word? No. Could your parents say, hey, did you notice that you left the cabinet open? Right? So what do you call that? An academic vocabulary word. It's a word that once we know it, it could be any subject whatsoever. Like wonder. Do we just use wonder in EL? No, we have been, but could you say at home, I wonder where we're going to go on vacation someday? That could be a question. So those words are words that we use in all kinds of situations that once you know what that word means, you can use it in a variety of situations. So I'm going to show you, let's see, I got to exit out of here real quick. Use my dot camera. All right, so hopefully everybody sees there. So one of the words that we are going to look at today, oh, I have Tuesday's words, Monday's words. There we go. All right. Making sure I have all of my words here. All right, so I would like you to copy this down. Oh, I thought I had it already. Okay, here we go. And if you're at home, you can use your EL Spiral for this, but we're going to write respect. This is one of the words that we've already talked about, but I want to show you how you fill out this little form. And this is the way we're going to kind of do them in the future. So respect. And it's one of the words we have already on our academic vocabulary that Mrs. Aubin showed you. So respect. What does respect mean? And you can even, if one of my friends in here, you can even look over there, or maybe you just remember. Finn, what does respect mean? Exactly. Treating others okay. So treating others like you want to be treated. Now there's this other box here. This box is what we call a translation box. If you speak another language, you would maybe have another word for respect. So that would go in this spot here. Does anybody here know another word for respect that in a different language? Different language, like in Spanish or in French. Any of those? Any friends at home have any Spanish in their vocabulary? Fen?
I do have like Spanish and a lot of different languages in me, but some of them I don't quite know.
Okay.
I know how to say it in English.
Ah. Right. Yeah, and that's a great definition of it, right? For sure. So we're going to leave this one blank. And then there's a sketch part. And this is where you can draw a little picture about how you feel, what you think it means. So I'm going to draw a little stick figure And I'm going to draw a little heart, another little stick figure, and then another happy face. So they're sharing the kindness. So a little picture. Now, you don't have to draw what I drew. Draw whatever picture you want that would show respect. That's just my picture.
And this
But
is,
you can draw whatever you would like there. Yes,
can you
ma'am.
repeat the page numbers? We have about 3 new students that just joined.
Okay, so they don't have the page number because they don't have a workbook, but they're just following along, and they're going to have something to look at. They can put in. Oh, I said they. Yes. Okay. So in your EL spiral, we're just writing. So we're talking about academic vocabulary. Academic vocabulary is any words that. Oops. Gotta get off my gray book there. Any words that we can use in a variety of settings. So words like challenges or respect, notice, wonder. And so we are practicing what we're going to do when we get to a new word. So we're using our EL words, but when you're reading your own books in your and running across different vocabulary, you'll have different kinds of what we call academic vocabulary, or we'll also have what we call topical vocabulary, which we'll go over in just a minute. Okay, so here we had, so it's just the word, what it means. Now, where else, if I didn't know what respect means, what other book might I be able to look in if I need to know the definition of something? Anybody know what that book is that we look up words we don't know? Anybody have any ideas? Max? Dictionary. So we are going to do some dictionary work, not today, but we are going to be doing some dictionary work. So that is another place we could find the definition. All right, nice job, Logan. Dictionary, very nice. And Mrs. Aubin and I sent dictionaries home with you so that you each have one at your house. But we're not going to use them today, so you're okay for today. So respect. And then we have our definition. Then if you had another language, we'd write it there so you can leave it blank. And a little sketch of however you would remember how to use that. So that's academic vocabulary. Then we have what's called topical vocabulary. I'm going to go back to my presentation real quick. Here we go. So topical vocabulary. Topical vocabulary are words related to a particular topic. Words that you wouldn't use just every day. Okay, so we know like respect. I could say respect, we have to respect the people who we are reading about, right? The different groups of people we're reading about. I could say, hey, respect the music teacher when she's trying to talk, right? I could say we're going to respect the earth by not littering. Respect can be used all different times. Now, topical vocabulary, what word do you see inside of topical that might help you figure out, that might help us remember what kind of word it is? Topical. Does anybody see a word inside topical? A word inside it. Noah. There is top. Good. Any other word that's in there? Haley. Yeah, that wouldn't be a word by itself, but topical. Abby? Topic. Have you heard of the topic of the conversation? What you're talking about right now. So topical means what word you just need for the topic right now. So last week we used a word that was sapling. You remember the word sapling from last week? We used it for our word. So we're going to write that one down right now. Sapling.
So guys, if you're having trouble not being able
to see,
not doing this, we need to get closer. Some of us didn't get the word respect.
Oh no.
Yeah, you need to be writing, guys. So I'm not sure if you realize what she's doing here, you're supposed to be doing. Raise your hand if you can't see it or you need help, and I'll come around and help you. I'll write it on a sticky note or something for you. You're fine.
So here's our word sapling. So friends at home, you're writing this one down. Topical vocabulary. Oh, here. Yep. Treating others like you want to be treated. Sapling is our word. Who remembers what the definition of sapling was? They built the house, Thomas and his friends built their school, and they gathered saplings and grass to put on the top of their house. Sapling. Lyric, do you remember what a sapling was? A small tree. It's a small young tree. So we're going to write small young tree. So this one goes on page 7 because is sapling going to come up in math? Probably not. Is sapling going to come up in a conversation probably with you and your friends at recess?
No.
Probably not. But was sapling important to know what it meant for our story? Yes, for our topic. For our topic, we needed to know what a sapling was, and that it was good that we asked, what is a sapling? So we don't have another translation of it, but what could we draw in our sketch? What could we draw in our sketch? What do you think we could draw? Marin? A small tree. All right. And it's going to be tiny. It's not going to be a big tree, right? It's just because it's not going to be big and thick. So Mrs. Harrison's not sure. I could draw, I don't know. Not the best drawer, but it's not a big tree though, right? It's just a small tree. So you're just going to draw yourself a little picture. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just something to help you remember what a sapling is. It's one of our vocabulary words that we're going to have. So topical vocabulary are words you'd only use based on our topic. And our academic vocabulary is based on the things that we're going to use inside of what we're studying, but also can be used in other areas. We can talk about respect all the time. All right, so I'm going to get out of there for a minute, go back to my, all right, here we go. So we have our academic vocabulary, our topical vocabulary, and now, small young tree. All right, so close readers, we talked about what close readers do last week. We read small chunks of text slowly and think about the gist, what's going on in the story. We circle or underline words we don't know. Well, that's obviously if we have it in front of us, right? And in our book box, we're going to have a lot of words that we come up to. Can we circle them in our books? No. Can we underline them in our books? No. Probably if it's on our workbook, yes. But we're most likely going to write them down inside of our either our workbook or our EL spiral. Sometimes we're going to write them in our EL spiral when we find a new word. And then we're going to be responsible for figuring out what it means and sharing it with others. Okay? So we are going to be doing a bunch of strategies. So these strategies help us find the meaning of words we don't know. So the first one is context clues. So context clues, context means around that word. Okay? So if I went back to my book of Brain School, and I looked at the page that had sapling, if I didn't know what a sapling was, I could take, oh, you can't see it because I don't have the, this toggling back and forth is rough. All right, so here is my sentence. He gathers grass and saplings with the other children and they make a roof. Well, I can look at the words around it. So it's something with grass, like grass. Does that help me figure a little bit out what it is? Yeah. Maybe might still be struggling. Then I can look at the picture to see if they had anything on the picture that might help me figure it out. The context of where the words are. I'm using it for the, thank you. I'm using it to make the roof. So I would think in my head, well, what else could I use in the roof? Okay. So if I can't figure it out from the context, then I'm going to look at the next, I'm going to look at my close reader idea and see. I do. I hit, oh, did I not hit save? Oh, I did it though.
Okay.
Sorry. In fact, Mrs. Woodland watched me do it. Oh, I didn't hit save. Oh boy. All right, here we go. Back into present. All right. So did the context clues help us a lot? Maybe not. Oh, where did that happen? Go back. Affix clues. Today we're going to look at the affix and root words. Today, sapling, do you hear a word in sapling that might help us figure out what sapling if we just look at the word parts? Sunny, what do you notice? Well, not slap, but sap, right? So sap, where does sap come from? I know I get it stuck on me all the time, and I'm very unhappy about it usually. Abby? Sap comes from trees. So a sapling, what might that make you think about? Sapling. What does that make us think, Haley?
That makes me think about like sap.
Which is comes from a tree. And then so a sapling might have something to do with trees, right? Might have something to do with trees. Okay, so I'm taking the word apart. We're going to take a bunch of words apart today to see how they are. Miss Madison, I hope you have that mask on pretty quick here soon. Thank you. And then we could actually use a dictionary. Today, we're not going to practice using the dictionary, but the dictionary would be our last resort. If we can't figure it out by the words around it or the pictures, and we can't break it into word parts, we might have to look in the dictionary. But I think we broke it up enough to think about sap. Sap has to do with trees. Sapling, it sounds like it must be some sort of tree. So then we have to go back to the text and see, does that make sense? Would it make sense for some sort of tree thing to be part of the roof? You think? What do you think, Bird? Yeah, it makes sense that they use grass. They'd also be using some sort of.
Staff, please excuse this interruption. This is just a reminder that 100 Mile Club starts today. If you are running during your
Sorry, friends at home.
recess with the paras,
Bear with us.
make sure you tell your para that you are running so that they can give me your lap. So remember, if you're running for 100 Mile Club, you need to be signed up for it and tell the para you're running. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you for waiting, my friends. Sorry about that. We had an announcement. All right. So we go back to the text and see if does that make sense that we'd have a small tree or some sort of tree be part of our roof? Yes. And if we still have questions, we can ask a teacher, we can ask a friend, we can talk it over with a partner for sure. So that's what close readers do. So today we're going to also, our learning target had to do with looking at affixes and roots. So my friends in the class, you have 3 pages. They start on page 9 and then 10 and 11. You'll notice that they're in your workbook. My friends at home, you're going to find these pages attached to today's assignment. You're going to find a page of prefixes, a page of roots, and a page of suffixes. And we're going to kind of break them down what each of them means in just a moment. All right. So a prefix, our example is re or un or over or non. What part of a word do we usually see that on? In or un. What part of the word do we normally see that on? Is it the beginning, the middle, or the end? I untied my shoes. I retested my student. Where do we notice those beginning words there that are on page 9? Where do we normally see those? Is it page 9? Yeah, page 9. Thank you, Elena. So, where do we see those words, Haley? Well, I'm talking about where on a word would we normally see them? in the beginning of a word. So we are going to look at what's called a prefix. A prefix are some letters that are added to the front of the word to change its meaning. So if I say I'm going to retest someone, we have two sections of the word, re and test. Test is what we call the root word. And the root word is the word, the base part of the word that makes sense by itself sometimes. So root is the base. So if that's the case, if I say I'm going to retest some friends for the spelling test on Friday, if you look at that list right there on page 10, my friends, I'll try to pull that up. See if I can, where is that? Do I have it open? My pictures? I don't. All right, my friends, I will make sure I get up. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll put it up on the book. So what does re mean? Look at the letters R-E, re, on page 9. Who sees what re means? So here we have re, and it tells you what re means, and it gives you some examples, and it tells you where that word came from. So re means what? I should have lots more hands up, my friends. Right there, it's the first one at the top. What does re mean? Charlie? Can you see it on the very top one on page 9? Very top one on page 9. Because it's a prefix. Comes at the beginning of the word. Well, it actually says definition is again or back. So if I retest somebody, I'm going to test them again, right? If I retest you, I'm going to test you again. So a prefix happens at the beginning of a word. So reread, rewrite, return. Those are examples of words that have re at the beginning. Okay? Then we have someone's un. Un means opposite or not. If I uncover, what is the root word in uncover? The root word. Abby?
Cover.
Cover. So if I uncover, what am I doing? I'm taking it off, right? I'm taking the covers off. I'm not covered, right? Okay, so here we have a lot of prefixes. There's a whole bunch of them that go with different words, and we're going to practice with some of them today on some words. Uh-oh, I dropped. Hey, Miss Serena, can you hand me that? It floated toward you. Thank you. All right, so a prefix happens at the beginning of a word. Then there are some root words. Let's look through some root words. Words that we find in a lot of other words that mean something. So bio means life, like biology, biography, antibiotic. Are those words you've heard before? And they all have bio. Do they have bio? This one has, these two have at the beginning, but does that one have it? That one has it in the middle. And so bio means life. Graph means to write. Telegraph, photograph, phonograph, autograph. You ask somebody for their autograph, you want them to do what? Sign it, right? Write their name. So it means to write. So here we have a lot of root words. Words like geo. Geo means the earth. Geography, geology, geometry. All words that have geo in them. And words like, you'll see scope. Scope means to look or examine. Microscope, telescope, periscope, stethoscope, kaleidoscope. Who knew all those words had scope in them? But each one of them has to do with looking, right? Telescope, what are you looking at? The sky. Microscope, what are you looking at? Something super tiny, right? Periscope, if you're on a ship, you know what a periscope is? It goes up so they can see for a distance in the boat. A stethoscope. Who uses a stethoscope? Abby? So, specifically a doctor, for sure. And a stethoscope is to find your what? to find your heart. Now, are they seeing it but they're looking for your heartbeat? Even though they aren't seeing it, they're looking for it. And the last one, kaleidoscope. Does anybody know what a kaleidoscope is? Cooper. It is a toy. It's something where you look in, right? And you can move, usually you move some things and it makes a pretty design. So all of those have to do with looking. So those are our root words. And our last one, our last affix is called a suffix. So these are all affixes. Anytime you have something at the beginning of a word or at the end of a word, this is the general word for any time that happens. You have an affix. But you might have a prefix and a root word, or a root word and a suffix. So your last page, page 11, or my friends at home, you're going to have a page that's attached to your assignment. This is the suffix. Suffixes go at the end. Well, the most common suffix is the little s. I see some people who are not on page 11 with me. Please be on page 11 with me, the suffix.
So it keeps going.
Suffix. Yep, it
Not
keeps
just
going.
that first page. That's what I
We
was
got the
trying to show
prefix, we have the roots, and we have the suffix right here. So the very most common suffix is an S. When we add the S to a word, what are we telling us? What are we doing? Dog, dogs. When we add an S to the end of a word, what happens, Ellie? That means that we have more than just one, right? There's a dog. Look, there's two dogs. So the easiest suffix, the one we all use a lot, is an S. It means we're adding something to the end. But it also might be spelled ES. Like I had one batch of cookie. My mom made 2 batches of cookies when we add an ES. And then sometimes we have to add an IES. Like there was a cute baby at the park. There were 5 cute babies at the park. Then we changed the Y to I and add ES. So those are those easy ones. Then ED. What happens when we add an ED to a word? Jump, jumped. What do we do when we add an ED? Noah?
Hold on. I have to find it. Past and T.
Past tense. Yep, past tense. So it means something happened already. I jumped, but yesterday I jumped. And then we add an ED to the end to make that word tell us that it's not happening now, it happened in the past, right? Ing, helping, skipping, running, seeing, thinking, hopping, all by adding ing to our root word. Our root word for helping is help. We add ing, and what does it tell us? Miss Sunny, what does it tell us? You're doing something. You're in the process of doing it. So if somebody wanted help and you're helping them, you're in the process of giving them help, right? How about running? I can run, but I'm running. I'm in the process of doing it. That ing. These are all things you guys write all the time, but we're just now calling them a certain thing. A suffix are the letters added to the end of the word to change its meaning. The word jump, that's our root word, jumped. ED means it happened before. Jumping means I'm doing it right now, right? Those little tiny words at the end made a big difference. They changed our ideas. All right, so we're going to practice some of this. We're going to practice using our prefixes, our suffixes, and our root words. So I'm going to get back into my presenting mode and hope that my smartboard works for me today. All right, so let's look at this word, uncomfortable. So what letters do you see at the front of uncomfortable? Our prefix. What word do you see? Well, I already did this one for you. So what letters, Nixon, do you see? UN, un. So everybody here, look at page 9. Everybody look at page 9 in your workbook. Where do you see un? This is a prefix. So what does un mean? UN. It's it's 1, 2, 3, 4th one down, says Haley. What does it say, Abby? What does un mean?
Un means not opposite of.
Yep, so not or the opposite of. So uncomfortable. So un in this case is going to be the opposite. Okay, what root word or word do you see that could stand all by itself in there? Uncomfortable. What word stands all by itself as the root word? Lots of hands. It's already done for you here, friends. It's right up here. What word, writer, do you see by itself? Comfort. What does comfort mean? What does comfort mean? Lucas. It feels good. Perfect. Feels good. So it feels good. Un means not. So, or the opposite of. So is uncomfortable means the opposite of feeling good, right? And then there's the ABLE. And if you look at page 11, this one for some reason isn't on there, but able just means how to make that it's a sense of or a feeling of. So uncomfortable. So who can tell me what, since we broke it down into pieces, un means not, comfort means feels good, and able is a feeling of. So if we put them all together, a feeling that's not good, right? Feeling that's not good. So if we didn't know what uncomfortable meant, we could take those word parts apart and then take each section and look and see what they mean as. So this one is a prefix, a root, and a suffix. Now let's do another one together.
And Jensen knew un.
Very good. Okay, here's my affix list, friends. For my just my friends at home, just know that these are attached to today's assignment, so you can use them as much as you need to. So here's our affix list for our prefixes. Here's our un, opposite of. We didn't have comfort's not listed on this one because there's a lot of root words and we can't necessarily put them on every single one of them. And here's our suffixes. So you're going to find this picture again at the end of our assignment. So here's a word, constructed. Constructed. Who thinks they can look up at that? And maybe look at page 9 if you're looking for your prefix. Who thinks they have an idea what our prefix at the beginning of the word? Pre means before. So a prefix is an affix that comes before. Con. Very good, Jensen. Watch this. Look, it appeared. Very good. So our prefix is con, and if we look at our prefix list, it says that con means to construct, to put together. Put together. So what would be our root word, do you think, Cooper? Oh, close. You got a little bit of a suffix in there. You want to try it without the ending? So it says, oh, you have a friend too, Cooper? Struct. Who also had that? Jensen, on the ball, bud. There you go. Excellent. And then what is my suffix? Oh, I got lots of hands on this one. Everybody knows what's left of the word, huh? Okay. ED. The ending, right? That makes it past tense. Very nice. Jensen got awesome, my friends. Excellent. Uh-oh. Went a little ahead too. So if you look at, so tomorrow we're going to write something called a short constructed response. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. So here's the word constructed. Con means together. Struct means to build. If you look on page 10, the last one on page 10 says struct, to build. So to build together, and then ed means what? In the, what did we say, Noah? In the past, right? So constructed. We're going to put together, we're going to build a response tomorrow. All right, so we're going to do some together. I'm really hoping my board works for me today. So the first word we're going to, everybody needs to be on page that's here. My friends at home, this is going to be slides 12 and 13, but you're going to do slide 13 on your own. Well, or maybe together, depending on how much time you have. I got it. Everybody in here needs to be on page 30. We're skipping a bunch of pages. I know but it's page 30. Looks just like this. Paxton, nice job. So my friends who are at home, I'm not abandoning you. I'm just walking over. Hopefully you can still hear me. But I'm going to write on the board. And so everybody who's at home, make sure that you're using your EL spiral. And you're going to break up you're gonna draw three little sections, and you're gonna write each section separately, okay? Each part of the word separately. All right, so on feeling is our first one. Page 30, Mr. Sawyer. 30. All right, on feeling, page 30. On feeling, who thinks they can tell me what the prefix is for on feeling? I'll give you a hint. On feeling. Madison, what do you think? On. Really hope it works. Oh, it does. Yay.
It's the little thing.
I know. All right. On feeling. So what is the root word? The word that might be able to stand on its own and help us figure out this word means. Writer. Feel. So you're writing these inside your book, my friends. And if you're at home, you're writing it on your notebook. On, feel, and then what is our suffix, Mr. Sawyer? Ing. All right. On feeling is our whole word. On feeling. Well, what does feel mean? What does feel mean? Abby?
What's your emotion?
What your emotion is, and you have to have emotion, right? On means not, and ing we know is something that we're probably having now. So if you're on feeling, what does that mean? You're not feeling, you're not being nice, you're not having emotions, right? Yeah, somebody's mad at you and they're yelling at you and you're unfeeling, you don't care about their feelings, right? All right, enjoyable. Who thinks they can give me, maybe somebody at home might know what the prefix for enjoyable? Sometimes it's even easier to get the root first and then make your prefix and your suffix. Anybody at home have an idea for my prefix? This one's a little, nothing yet. All right, I'm gonna go for Marin. N-E-N. And then my root word, Ben, what do you think? Joy.
Oh, Logan got the 3 parts.
Yay, Logan. All right. He's got all of them. So, Logan, what's that last one then? What's our stuff? Able. Very nice. All right. Enjoyable. So, if we weren't sure what this word was, we could break it up into the sections and then we can figure out, using our affixes, what that meaning is. Oh, indestructible. Some of you will look at that word and you'll be like, oh, that is so long. How are we going to figure out what that is? Well, we're going to break it into pieces. Indestructible. So who thinks they can see our prefix? Madison. In. There's actually 2. This one's tricky. There's 2 on this one. Cole, what do you think? The D, yep, we actually have 2 in here. This one was extra tricky because there was 2. In, de, and then what are we gonna have a D meaning? D's on one of your list about to take a, this is the opposite of again. All right, Lucas? Struck, did we see that already this morning? Yep, struck in our constructed response, right?
Logan Peters got this.
All right, good job, Logan. You're cruising, buddy. And the end part, what do you think is our suffix then? Nixon. Able. I-B-L-E. Indestructible. So struck is build, D is opposite, indestructible. It's impossible to take apart. It's impossible to keep from being built. All right, enlarged. I'm going to give you a chance to do some work on your own in a minute here. Enlarged. What's the first one? Abby. En. What do you think it's going to be for our middle root word? Ellie. Large. Now this one's a little tricky because the word large has an E on it, but our suffix is also a little, it's got a little, you might be confused on this one a little bit because large has an E on it, but E might be part of our suffix as well, even though we're not EE. in our word? Noah, what do you think? It is ed, because we'll be talking about past tense. When you have an e already, you don't add two e's, just add the d, but the actual suffix is ed. Last one, disagreeable. Disagreeable. And I'm going to give some chance for you guys to work at home on your own, and for us, the rest of us, we're in. This, what's my root word? Surname? Agree. And I bet Logan Peter has it. Elena? Able again, but we said, you're right. We don't say it quite that way when we say disagreeable. It's more of a sound, isn't it? Disagreeable. So if you're disagreeable, are you very good at agreeing? No. So it's the way of being. That's what the able tells us. Disagreeable. This is not. So you have a sense of a feeling of not agreeing. Disagreeable. All right, my friends. So what I would like you to, just for like 1 minute, go ahead and look at page 31. My friends at home, you're going to fill out the form on slide 13, and you're going to do the same thing for the words that are on slide 13 using your text boxes. Okay? So you're going to go ahead and do that and get it and turn that in on your assignment today. All right? Everybody at their seats. Uh-oh, what's happening? Crazy things are happening here. What happened? Oh boy. I have not, but I'm about to. Where did it go? Ah! All right. Cancel. Gotta stop sharing. Yikes, there it is. All right, so my friend's gonna stop recording.